schools are enhancing the way that they address academic and behavioral problems through multi-tiered systems of support. Here in Tennessee, we refer to that multi-tiered system of support as response to instruction and intervention for behavior. Tennessee is dedicated to creating a more safe and positive school environment for all, and RTI2-B can help with that goal. Each implementing school will create a team that will go through training, and the state team will then provide support through training and technical assistance for the schools who are implementing. Schools implementing this framework have seen improvement in several areas, such as academic achievement, office discipline referrals, social emotional competence, bullying behavior, and staff turnover.
You as educators have a lot on your plate. It seems like every year there's a new initiative, curriculum, or package intervention that you're expected to use in your classrooms. But how do these work together? Has anyone ever shown you how to organize these tools so that they are effective and don't bog you down? We want these initiatives to be meaningful to you and your students. But most importantly, we want to see your students grow, academically and socially, and for you to maintain balance in your lives. So how do we tie all of this together so that your plate is not so heavy? RTI2-B. In Tennessee, schools are beginning to implement this multi-tiered system of supports to better serve everyone who plays a role in schools. RTI2-B supports school districts, schools, staff, parents, and students. The goal is to align social and behavioral supports so that what you are doing is sustainable and effective. We know that schools encounter many different barriers and face a variety of problems every day. As educators, your job is anything but easy. You might find it challenging to wake up in the mornings and go to work. Morale may be low in your school building. The problems that schools in different areas face vary, but are plentiful. Lack of student engagement, frequent problem behaviors, interruptions of academic instruction, staff turnover, decreased attendance, parent dissatisfaction, and poor school climate, just to name a few. But this picture of schools today does not have to be the picture of schools tomorrow. RTI2-B is here to help. This framework is designed to help boost staff morale and improve the school climate for all who enter the building. When schools are having to deal with frequent problem behaviors, instructional time is interrupted, which can add up to significant losses in overall instructional and academic time. For example, one elementary school in Illinois calculated the amount of administrative, student, and staff time lost due to office discipline referrals, in-school suspensions, and out-of-school suspensions. Let's take a look at how this time can add up. Prior to implementing, this school averaged 4 office discipline referrals each day. This took 40 minutes of administrator time, 1 hour of student instructional time, and 20 minutes of staff time each day. As we know in schools, time is precious, and there's never enough to accomplish everything. Even without interruptions, imagine repeating this every day for a year. That collectively added up to 420 hours of time lost due to office discipline referrals. What about time lost to ISS and OSS? These numbers were astronomical. During this time, students are not learning. This school began implementing a multi-tiered system of supports like RTI2-B and saw a decrease in time lost due to problem behaviors. Watch as their time spent reactively dealing with problem behaviors decreased. Having a reactive approach to problem behavior eats significant instructional time without resulting in a meaningful change in student behavior. Think about how much time they have gained to now spend on more important things, like teaching. One of the core beliefs of RTI2-B is that behavior is learned. Kids are not born bad. Rather, those behaviors are learned over time and reinforced by things happening in their environments. The good news is that we can use what we know about behavior to change it and teach students more pro-social skills. RTI2-B emphasizes a proactive and preventative approach to behavior. There are 3 tiers within RTI2-B. Schools who wish to implement this multi-tiered system of supports will be trained over time and will build their plan 1 tier at a time. Schools begin the training and implementation process with Tier 1, which is school-wide and lays the foundation for a positive school climate. Tier 2 and Tier 3 are built upon that foundation, much like the toppings in a delicious ice cream sundae. If we think of Tier 1 as the base, or the scoop of ice cream, then Tier 2 and 3 are layered on top. Each tier provides an additional layer of support for students to be successful. Let's put this triangle into perspective. Every student who walks through the doors of your school receives Tier 1 supports. Approximately 80 to 85% of your students should respond positively to these supports. For those students who may continue to exhibit problem behaviors, Tier 2 may meet their needs. Tier 2 involves targeted small group interventions facilitated by 1 or 2 adults at a time. Approximately 10 to 15% of the students will need Tier 2. Tier 3 is designed to meet the needs of those students who continue to require additional interventions beyond the scope of Tier 1 and Tier 2. This final tier utilizes individualized interventions implemented by a team of adults. Approximately 3 to 5% of the students will require this level of intervention. The percentages described may look differently in your building based on your students' needs and where your school is within the RTI2-B process. However, the ratio should still be all, some, few. For schools who are interested in implementing RTI2-B, we have a guide that shows the road to implementation success and sustainability. The first stop along the way is for districts and schools to indicate interest in implementing RTI2-B and to form leadership teams who will attend training. The school leadership team needs to have an administrator, school counselor, and teachers who are representative of the school staff, such as special ed, related arts, and gen ed teachers of different grade levels and subjects. The team may also include school psychologists, behavior specialists, and paraprofessionals. Once the leadership has been established, they will attend a Tier 1 training by the Tennessee Behavior Supports Project. While at the training, the team will develop a draft of the school's RTI2-B plan and will then go back to their schools to train their staff. The Tier 1 plan that school leadership teams develop will lay a foundation for all students, just like our scoop of vanilla ice cream. The plan will focus on the social and behavioral needs of all students and will create a positive and supportive school environment through teaching and encouraging school-wide behavioral expectations. There will be an emphasis on preventing problem behavior by teaching all students the behaviors needed to meet the school-wide expectations. Tier 1 uses an acknowledgement system for students and staff that is built upon the existing needs of your school. A plan will be developed for consistently and systematically responding to problem behavior by all staff. Once the school leadership team has trained their school on the Tier 1 plan, all staff will then implement the plan. As a staff member, what does this mean for you? Your school's leadership team will share their knowledge gained from training and will have materials available for you. All staff will implement Tier 1 by teaching the school-wide behavioral expectations using an acknowledgement system and responding consistently to problem behaviors. Your school leadership team will meet monthly to make data-based decisions and monitor the effectiveness of the Tier 1 plan. They will ask school staff for input on components of the plan and share necessary information with you on a regular basis. When your school is ready to implement Tier 2, a Tier 2 team will be formed and will attend Tier 2 training by the Tennessee Behavior Supports Project. Tier 2, provided in addition to Tier 1, addresses students who are in need of additional support. Just because a student receives Tier 2 supports does not mean they are excluded from Tier 1. This is similar to the chocolate syrup simply being added to the vanilla ice cream. They're not consumed separately. This second tier takes on a preventative approach to supporting small groups of students. It teaches self-monitoring and socially successful behaviors before problem behaviors need individualized interventions. Examples of Tier 2 interventions include check-in, check-out, social skills groups, mentoring, and breaks are better. Once the Tier 2 team has been through training and developed the school's plan, they will go back to train the staff. They will then work together to implement Tier 2 while continuing Tier 1. As a staff member, what does this mean for you? You may be in charge of an intervention, but those decisions will be determined based on your role within the school and your availability. If you have a student involved in an intervention, you will be provided with information about their progress. If you feel it is necessary to refer a student who you think needs additional support and would benefit from Tier 2, there will be a process for making a referral. Your Tier 2 team will meet at least monthly to monitor the effectiveness of the Tier 2 interventions and make data-based decisions. You may also be part of the student identification process. When your school is ready to implement Tier 3, a Tier 3 team will be formed and will attend training by the Tennessee Behavior Support Project. After attending training and developing a Tier 3 plan, the team will return and train the school staff on the plan. Tiers 1 and 2 will continue to be implemented along with Tier 3. This is the addition of the cherry to the top of your RTI2-B sundae. The Tier 3 plan addresses the needs of students who continue to exhibit challenging behavior. Tier 3 interventions are provided in addition to Tier 1 and Tier 2 supports, uses function-based individualized interventions, and ensures that students with the greatest needs are supported. Tier 3 helps to decrease challenging behavior while simultaneously teaching pro-social behavior. Examples of Tier 3 interventions include functional behavior assessments, function-based interventions, and individual counseling. As a staff member, what does this mean for you? Only certain people in the building will facilitate these interventions. If you have a student involved in a Tier 3 intervention, you will be provided with information about your student's progress. School-wide, you should only have a few students receiving Tier 3 support. Ready? Yeah. Your Tier 3 team will meet at least monthly to monitor the effectiveness of the interventions and make database decisions. You may also be part of the student identification process. At this point, your school will have successfully completed the training process offered by the Tennessee Behavior Supports Project. We hope you will have seen noticeable improvements in school climate, student behavior, and use of data to best meet the needs of your students. The process doesn't stop here. While you may have finished your formal training, continued implementation and success depends on you. But by this time, you will have the necessary tools to keep going and to problem solve every step of the way. But don't just take our word for it. Let's hear from the Tennessee educators who have been part of the RTI2-B process in their own schools.
It was a turning point for us. It showed us that we could do what we needed to do with the engagement of parents, teachers, and students in the process.
It's important to get a good group of people to support you. You need a buy-in, not from just the teachers, but from the staff, and then that'll flow over to the students.
The team developed different components of our school-wide plan. We took it back to the staff, got their input, and then actually used that feedback to adjust the plan so that everybody knew that we were really listening to them.
Through the implementation process, we've really focused on that positive relationship between our teachers and students.
Well, it's given the students incentive to do the right thing, to make good choices.
We're here to support educators, schools, and families. So visit our website and view our resources. We provide technical assistance and training at no cost to you or your school. A positive school culture is a great place for students and staff to thrive. Why not start a plan that could help with that?